Hey, this is Liz Bentley, and today I want to talk about taking ownership. And what I mean by taking ownership is taking ownership of your part in whatever part of life we are discussing. So in the workplace, you taking ownership of your role in whatever's happening, okay? Now, what I tend to see in coaching is people default to one side or the other, typically. They either take too much ownership of something that's happening, then they swim out of their lane. They start trying to control things that are not theirs to control, trying to control outcomes that are not their responsibility, or trying to get into the middle of conflicts that have nothing to do with them, okay? And they take too much ownership of stuff, or they default the other way and don't take enough ownership. So they might start a project, but they don't finish it. They might get involved with something on their part. So for example, let's say they're running a project and they email someone to get information, but that person never responds to their email. And instead of taking ownership of it and then calling them, texting them, emailing them again and saying, I need this information to get this job done, they sit on their hands and say, I never heard back from them. So they don't take ownership of the timeline, of the process, of what's happening. They kind of let it go because they asked somebody for something and they didn't respond. Or, for example, the person who doesn't take ownership in conflict may stay quiet and not respond to things and just kind of ignore what's happening because they're not taking ownership of their part in it. So, the point being is that we want to take ownership of things in our life. We want to look at our responsibilities. What is our job? How do we do the best at our work? How do we do the best in our life? And what part of our life do we control and what part do we not? This is a constant conversation in coaching that I'm in with my clients. What part do you control here? Even in parenting, there are parts that we do not control because it's our children living their lives. And in other cases, we are influencing them dramatically in the decisions they make, in the performance they have, in the relationships they create, etc. Okay? So taking ownership, here are the tips. Number one, get very clear on what you control and what you don't. Number two, stay in your lane, but swim in your lane. Make sure you're staying in action and doing something. Recognize you do drive results. Number three, whether you're someone who leans to one side or the other, always look at the result you're trying to achieve. Because often, if you're indexing too far on one side or the other, you're not going to get what you're looking for. So make sure you're always paying attention to the result you're driving for. And last but not least, always remember it's about you. At the end of the day, the only one you're fixing is yourself. Thanks.